How did an auto garage in Colombia trigger a 48-hour global manhunt across land, sea, and cyberspace? The FBI had been watching the nondescript Envigado shop for months. What they uncovered wasn't just a lab, it was a factory, refining narcotics at an industrial scale. And when the first door came down, a naval operation spun into motion thousands of miles away. This is the chain reaction that exposed a $5 billion drug empire. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Why did a simple garage in Envigado make the US Navy change course mid-mission? For 3 months, Colombian National Police and FBI field agents had been watching the same corner lot where mechanics hammered, welded, and washed pickups under the afternoon sun. The place smelled of grease, paint thinner, and exhaust, ordinary enough to pass unnoticed, but power readings from the local grid told another story. Every night, between 1 and 4 a.m., the electrical draw spiked high enough to run a small factory. By tracing the overages, technicians discovered modified meters patched with homemade circuit boards. Someone inside the shop had hacked the service to disguise industrial-scale consumption. That was when investigators replaced their surveillance vans with mobile command rigs and began recording every shipment crossing the gate. Deliveries arrived labeled as automotive solvents and refrigerants, but chemical analysts at the Bogota lab found trace residues of methylamine and red phosphorus, key meth precursors. Truck manifests never matched the invoices. Hidden among oil filters and gasket orders were coded notations, digits repeating in sets of 5, prices rounded to the same cent every time, and fuel entries that didn't correspond to any recorded vehicles. The codes formed coordinates, delivery chains, and payment trails written into the paperwork of a fictional car shop. Agents suspected the Clon del Golfo syndicate had shifted from smuggling raw materials to full manufacturing, embedding production in plain sight. When tactical units finally breached the metal doors at 2:15 a.m. on October 8, 2025, the first blast of air carried burned ammonia and solvent fumes strong enough to sting through gas masks. Steel panels lined the interior, walls within walls, masking 5 reactors taller than their operators, humming with residual heat. Each one was capable of refining around 2,000 pounds of high-purity crystal meth per week. Barrels of methylamine stood stacked in tight formation, strapped with hazard tape, their hazard markings painted over to read "engine cleaner." Ventilation pipes ran beneath concrete floors and exited through old plumbing shafts disguised to pass city inspection. It wasn't a garage, it was an industrial chemical plant built underground. Behind one partition, 5 men were found curled beside a leaking drum, barely conscious and burned across their arms. None had identification or protective gear. Their fingerprints linked them to missing person reports from Antioquia and Barranquilla. They said they were promised wages and transport home, but weeks had passed under constant chemical exposure. Paramedics moved them out on stretchers as hazmat teams flushed the fumes from the basement. Those survivors became tangible proof of how the cartel's billion-dollar operations fed on coerced labor and silence. Every joint in the pipeline depended on control, from forced workers to corrupt brokers. In a sealed office at the back, digital forensic agents cracked open a waterproof safe. Inside were 3 encrypted drives, 2 satellite phones, and a spiral notebook wrapped in plastic. The drives held transaction ledgers denominated in cryptocurrency and a string of maritime coordinates logged only hours before the raid. Analysts working through the night decrypted fragments of an internal message referring to the opening note of a larger machine. Cross-checking with regional traffic databases, they found payments to Venezuelan fuel depots and a shipping manifest listing a vessel named San Miguel. Mapping the coordinates revealed its position, 80 nautical miles off the Venezuelan coast, exactly where the next handoff was scheduled. The inland factory was only one organ in a continental network, and its next export was already moving toward open water. By dawn, debris smoldered inside the dismantled walls of the Envigado site, while miles away, a separate command center lit up. Satellite relays pushed coordinates to naval intelligence terminals across the Caribbean. On screen, a small radar echo drifted near the Gulf of Paria, matching the timestamp pulled from the cartel's digital ledger. The view shifted from the darkened garage to a glowing radar sweep over blue seawater, one operation ending as the next phase came alive. What did naval radars see gliding through the Gulf of Paria? An unmarked ship named San Miguel, carrying half a ton of darkness. In the early hours after the Envigado raid, encrypted data pulled from those seized drives was funneled through interagency channels to the Caribbean Joint Interdiction Center. Within minutes, coordinates appeared on monitors inside a windowless operations room, pinpointing a slow-moving vessel off Venezuela's northern coast. Analysts confirmed it matched the hidden entries recovered on the lab's ledgers. By nightfall, the information reached the bridge of a US Navy frigate already patrolling regional trade lanes. The mission parameters changed instantly. The San Miguel was now priority target 1. The intelligence handoff triggered a carefully timed collaboration between US and Colombian naval commands. Overnight, MH-60R Seahawk crews were switched to blackout mode, sensors recalibrated for surface search, and deck lights extinguished to reduce the radar signature. The Joint Task Force also deployed 2 rigid-hull inflatable boats from the nearest coastal cutter, staging them just beyond radar range. The Gulf's waters were calm but deceptive, with shallow thermal layers distorting radar returns. Amid that interference, technicians noted another echo moving abnormally close to the San Miguel. 2 ships appeared to be mirroring each other's path, traveling side by side in the dark to mask their digital tracks. When the frigate adjusted course, sonar picked up faint propeller noise inconsistent with civilian traffic. Commanders concluded the cartel convoy was attempting a mid-ocean transfer protected by armed escort. At 2320 hours, interception orders were issued. The Seahawk lifted off, its rotors lost in the wind, tracing the low reflection of the vessels on infrared scopes. Moments later, red tracer fire erupted from the smaller ship, arching wildly into the night. The helicopter gunner swept the return fire with short, controlled bursts from a mounted .50 caliber, detonating the gunboat's fuel drum in a flash, visible on satellite feed. Debris fell burning onto the waves as the Seahawk banked away. A second later, 2 RHIBS powered forward through the chop toward the waiting freighter. The San Miguel's crew tried to erase their crime before capture. Drums rolled off the deck into the sea. Others were punctured and thrown overboard, spewing their contents into salt water. The boarding teams made contact while smoke from the burning escort still drifted over the horizon. Within 8 minutes, every visible combatant had surrendered or been subdued. Below deck, sailors uncovered the first drums, still sealed, 54 of them, stamped with forged fertilizer labels. Their contents tested positive for methamphetamine. The total weight was 2,100 pounds. Overboard, sonar buoys marked dozens of floating containers tethered together by thin nylon rope. Divers later recovered another 1,900 pounds scattered over half a nautical mile. 17 men were restrained on deck as fires ignited around the superstructure. Whether from panic or instruction, someone triggered fuel valves leading to the engine bay. Flames crawled along oil streaks, turning the hull into a slow-burning torch. Navy engineers used pumps and containment foam to control the spread while keeping evidence intact. Communications ran constantly between the RHIB teams, the Seahawk circling above, and command nodes monitoring encrypted transmissions. Sonar sweeps verified no subsurface attempts at escape. Every frequency was logged, every movement coordinated under strict dusk engagement rules. By sunrise, thick smoke trailed westward from the crippled ship. The San Miguel drifted with its bow low in the water, engines dead, metal sizzling under the Caribbean sun. Crews offloaded sealed drums onto deck nets for aerial lift, marking the final count before scuttling her remains. In total, nearly 2 tons of narcotics were neutralized, with an estimated street value surpassing $350 million. The syndicate's primary export cycle had been severed, its maritime pipeline broken in less than 48 hours. Operation Silent Harbor proved something larger than a single victory. Air, land, sea, and cyber units moved as one, tracing an invisible supply chain from a garage floor to open water. That unity dismantled what billions of dollars had built. Modern cartels operate like industries, but only this kind of coordinated strike can cut through their digital armor. Maritime interdiction remains the unseen front line, quiet, technical, human. Each intercepted signal, each rescued worker widens that line just enough for justice to move forward. As dawn rose over the Gulf, the message stood clear: site secured, heart of the machine destroyed.